welcome to UINDY TV. I'm Tiana Baxter.
And I'm Colin Jung. In the days following the death of Queen Elizabeth, the Second United Kingdom continued their mourning until the Queen's funeral took place on Monday, September 19th.
The Queen's burial brings to a close a 10-day period of national mourning, but her family will privately mourn her for another week. A somber day for the United Kingdom as the world says goodbye to a queen whose reign spanned more than 7 decades, the longest reigning monarch in British history.
The grief of this day, felt not only by the late Queen's family, but all round the nation, the Commonwealth and the world, arises from her abundant life and loving service, now gone from us.
Westminster Abbey's tenor bell chiming once a minute for 96 minutes, marking each year of Queen Elizabeth II's life. Roughly 2,000 people attended, including world leaders like President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and members of the royal family. Following the service, thousands of people lined the streets of London as the Queen's coffin passed Buckingham Palace for the final time.
We adore her, and that's why we are here, because we are part of the Commonwealth.
The crowds cheering as her coffin left London. The Queen laid to rest in Windsor Castle, near her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip. There are many costly changes coming, including to coinage and banknotes that feature the Queen's image. That will have to be phased out and ultimately replaced with the new King Charles III's portrait. Also with stamps, passports that say Her Majesty will switch over to His Majesty. Police uniforms with her initials will switch over to his. Also senior trial lawyers known as the Queen's Counsel, they'll have to replace their business cards saying the King's Council, and the national anthem will end with God Save the King. In Windsor, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
As the United Kingdom has ended their mourning period, they are now shifted into a new era that will hopefully bring change and prosperity.
The ban on abortion has caused a battle between parties in the United States. Here in Indiana, the new ban on abortion has caused Hoosiers to react. With the June 24th ruling to overturn Roe v. Wade, Indianapolis has become a place for both sides of the conversations to hold protests in support of these laws and against them. When Roe v. Wade was first overturned, most of Indiana political officials did not immediately make statements on whether the law would affect Indiana residents. As of August 6, Indiana lawmakers passed a near-total abortion ban, which Governor Holcomb signed into law quickly after. The law banned abortion in Indiana with a few exceptions. Abortions will only be allowed if pregnant person's health or life is at risk, if there is a lethal fetal anomaly up to 20 weeks post-fertilization, and in cases of rape or incest, but only up to 10 weeks. With 62% of Americans who are for abortion, there are still Hoosiers rallying behind protesters alongside in favor of Roe v. Wade.
A woman in Florida was out for her nightly jog Monday when she was met with an unsuspecting attacker.
19-year-old William Stamper is now in the Seminole County Jail facing a charge for attempted sexual battery. This morning, we went to the address listed in court records for him, but no one answered. Stamper was arrested last night just hours after the Seminole County Sheriff's Office released this video and pictures showing a suspect walking and running in the Wekiva neighborhood. They believe the man in that video attacked a woman who was jogging around 8:30 at night Monday on Wekiva Trail at Hunt Club. He allegedly came up from behind her, tackled her, and then tried to sexually assault her, even biting her on the back. But she was able to resist, and the attacker ran away when neighbors came out to help.
Good Samaritans, citizens living in their house that quite literally probably saved her from a much more damaging situation. But these neighbors are truly acting in a heroic way.
Stamper was arrested after deputies went door to door in Wekiva looking for information and video. The 19-year-old is facing a charge for attempted sexual battery, being held with no bond, and is set to have a first appearance in front of a judge this afternoon.
The woman escaped with no physical traumas from her attack and was able to walk away with the help of her neighbors, who were just seemingly keeping an eye out.
Right after this break, a politician you may know caught in some heat.
Sorry, but before we start, you should know our terms and conditions.
I'm kind of in a rush.
You understand that by using the service, you may be exposed to content that is potentially dangerous, offensive, harmful to minors, unsafe, or otherwise objectionable, and you're using the service at your own risk.
What?
Let's go.
Ride-hail companies typically claim they aren't liable for their drivers. So read the fine print. Always ride responsibly.
Just one more rinse and you are all done. I wonder who that could be. I'll be right back, sweetie.
Children can drown quickly and silently. About 2/3 of in-home drownings occur in the bathtub.
Oh no! Call 911!
Turning your back for a moment could mean missing out on a lifetime of moments. It only takes a few seconds for a child to drown. Never leave young children alone in the bathtub or around a container of water. Visit cpsc.gov to learn how to prevent in-home drowning.
In 4 out of 5 school shootings, the attacker tells someone about it first. Call 1-866-SPEAK-UP to anonymously report a weapon threat at school.
A Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate has been accused of assault by one of his former campaign staffers, although he denies the allegations.
The difficulty for anyone in a situation in which some accusations have been made by some third party is that whether they're true or not, anytime you're explaining, you're not campaigning.
And with Election Day less than 2 months away, KCCI political analyst Dennis Goldford says time is of the essence.
An allegation of this sort introduces or can introduce a hesitation on the part of voters who are still learning who a particular candidate is and may be swayed by information that may be true, may not be wholly true.
Michael Franken and his campaign have denied the allegations that he grabbed a former campaign staffer and kissed her without consent. At a campaign event Monday, Franken told the Cedar Rapids Gazette that it's, quote, nonsense, but it's kind of traditional for the Republicans to drum something like this up. I'm surprised that they would come after a person like myself. Iowa Republican Party Chair Jeff Kaufman responded to that claim Tuesday.
This is all based on a very detailed police report. This was not something that was spun up in a political office. This was a police report that is multiple months old.
According to the report, Des Moines police found no information to support that a criminal act occurred and closed the case as unfounded. Goldford says that's key when it comes to how much these allegations could change the race.
If there were arrestable charges and charges that could be made and prosecuted, that would be game over. But we're not there yet, if at all.
It is unclear whether the investigation will be looked into any further, but frankly, already losing the race for senator, it seems the public have already made their decision based on his character.
President Biden addressed the United Nations General Assembly today with a message about the United States' position on foreign policies.
Let me be direct about the competition between the United States and China. As we manage shifting geopolitical trends, the United States will conduct itself as a reasonable leader. We do not seek conflict. We do not seek a Cold War. We do not ask any nation to choose between the United States or any other partner. But the United States will be unabashed in promoting our vision of a free, open, secure, and prosperous world and what we have to offer communities of nations. Investments that are designed not to foster dependency, but to alleviate burdens and help nations become self-sufficient.
President Biden was also quick to warn the UN about Russia's recent threats of nuclear warfare.
A nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. The 5 permanent members of the Security Council just reaffirmed that commitment in January. But today, we're seeing disturbing trends. Russia shunned the non-proliferation ideals embraced by every other nation at the 10th NPT Review Conference. And again today, as I said, they're making irresponsible nuclear threats to use nuclear weapons.
It is unknown whether President Biden's firm warnings against nuclear war will be heard by Russia.
The Federal Reserve has announced that once again they are raising rates again, and with these increases, Americans want answers.
Aggressive action from the Fed. On Wednesday, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announcing the 5th consecutive interest rate hike this year.
The FOMC raised its policy interest rate by 0.75 percentage point.
And economists aren't surprised and expect more rate increases are ahead of us. The Fed taking drastic action to slam the brakes on the hot economy and historic inflation.
They're obviously very concerned about inflation and raising rates very aggressively to slow the economy's growth rate down to try to quell that inflation.
Higher interest rates means higher borrowing costs for all Americans on their credit cards, cars, student loans, on their homes, where mortgage rates have already topped 6%, and also a hit on retirement savings.
What's happening right now should be a warning bell that get out of debt that you have and don't take on as much debt, because whatever you take on, it's going to cost you more.
Experts say most consumers will feel the pain, and for those living paycheck to paycheck, it could mean making difficult decisions. Personal finance author Michelle Singletary recommends holding off on big purchases until the overheated economy stabilizes.
Is this the right time? Can you wait before you jump into the housing market or to buy that new car? Because it's going to cost you more.
The Fed's move does have a silver lining for some. Economist Mark Zandi says higher rates could benefit savers.
Ultimately, this should be a plus for you because you'll get a higher rate on that.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Still with concerns from Americans, there are questions on whether there will be a 6th rate change.
And coming up after the break, we've got sports with Graham Shear. That's up next.
Sorry, but before we start, you should know our terms and conditions.
I'm kind of in a rush.
You understand that by using the service, you may be exposed to content that is potentially dangerous, offensive, harmful to minors, unsafe, or otherwise objectionable, and you're using the service at your own risk.
What?
Let's go.
Ride-hail companies typically claim they aren't liable for their drivers. So read the fine print. Always ride responsibly.
Just one more rinse and you are all done. I wonder who that could be. I'll be right back, sweetie.
Children can drown quickly and silently. About 2/3 of in-home drownings occur in the bathtub.
Oh no! Call 911!
Turning your back for a moment could mean missing out on a lifetime of moments. It only takes a few seconds for a child to drown. Never leave young children alone in the bathtub or around a container of water. Visit cpsc.gov to learn how to prevent in-home drowning.
In 4 out of 5 school shootings, the attacker tells someone about it first. Call 1-866-SPEAK-UP to anonymously report a weapon threat at school.
And we're back here on UINDY TV, taking it to Graham Shear for sports. Graham?
Plenty of exciting matchups from week 2 of the NFL season. My favorite from Monday night. Take a look at the Bills-Titans highlights. And Josh Allen, MVP favorite. Here he is just early in the first, the Bills' first drive of the game. And a touchdown by Reggie Gilliam, an 11-yard score. Get things started off. How would the Titans respond? King Henry on 4th and 1 with a 2-yard score. Now, late in the second, Josh Allen scrambling for his life, finds his man. It's Stefon Diggs. A 4-yard touchdown throw there. Now, here's early in the third quarter. Second half, Allen's going deep. It's Diggs again. Second touchdown pass of the day. That's a 46-yard bomb. How could Ryan Tannehill respond? Check out this play. Up in the air, and Jordan Boyer of the Bills comes up and makes the play. Bills on a roll. Now late in the third. Diggs again, his third of the day. This time, another touchdown pass for Josh Allen. And here's another interception. It's Matt Milano. That is all she wrote. And Bills Mafia going crazy in Buffalo. 41-7 the final there. Now that wasn't the only Monday night game. The Eagles and Vikings from Philly. Eagles seeking their first 2-0 start since 2016. Jalen Hurts, their quarterback. Here he runs in a 4-yard score to get the Eagles on the board. First play of the second quarter, Hurts going deep, a 53-yard strike, wide open is Quez Watkins. Now check out this play, late in the half. Hurts running for his life, cuts back in field and dives into the end zone. Another score for Hurts, his third touchdown of the first half. How could Kirk Cousins respond? Not here, this time picked off by Darius Slay. Eagles on a roll. Cousins again. Picked off again. Avonte Maddox this time. Now late in the game, Cousins fires another pass. Intercepted by Slay, his second of the day. 24-7, your final there. Now, as we finish week 2 of the NFL season and prepare for week 3, we have a game tonight, a Thursday night preview, Steelers and Browns. Now, the Steelers lost on Sunday, this against the New England Patriots. Mitch Trubisky, see a touchdown pass here, but he was 21 for 33 with 168 yards passing in Sunday's game. There was some complaint about his target options. He only completed 64% of his passes in Sunday's matchup. His 2 top targets had just 6 and 5 receptions. Here's Mitch Trubisky on the loss.
We got to get George involved. He's super talented. And when everybody gets their touches and we're moving the ball down the field, that's when it feels good. But when you miss opportunities, that's when you have a feeling like this and you just don't want to feel that again. So we got to get corrections. Everybody's got to pull together, and we got to get better this week. You just got to tell guys to buy in. Be patient, and just focus on your job. So that's what you got to do as a leader. Just got to keep guys on track, and if everybody just does their job, then we'll be a lot better as an offense.
Now the Steelers and their opponent tonight, the Cleveland Browns, had one thing in common: heartbreaking losses from Sunday's matchup. The Browns, however, lost to the New York Jets. Here we are late in the fourth quarter where we'll start, and Nick Chubb had a big imprint on this game. 3 touchdown runs, this one with 12 yards, a 12-yard run with 1:55 left. Keep your eye on this next play, though. Extra point sails wide, and the Browns are just up 13 points. Should be good enough, right? They're in good shape. Well, Joe Flacco leads the Jets all the way back. Here's a 66-yard touchdown pass to Corey Davis. Well, the Jets can then get the ball back. An onside kick, they get it. They get inside the red zone, and a 15-yard pass to Cedric Wilson. And the Jets won the game. Browns fans are stunned. Here's Nick Chubb with his thoughts on his decision-making.
Right there, honestly, looking back at it, it cost us the game. A lot of things went wrong. Not just one thing, but collectively as a unit, as a team, we could have all did things different. But I mean, it's only a problem because we didn't win, So I probably should have went down. I've been in a situation before, so I can't really put it on anyone but myself at this point. So I think the biggest thing is I was aware of what was going on. I thought the game was over, if we're being honest. So.
Did you know the Jets' win over the Browns on Sunday was the first time in the last 21 years teams blown a 13-point lead in the final 2 minutes. The last team to do it was the Browns. They blew it to the Chicago Bears. Can't wait for this matchup, though. The Browns and the Steelers, check out that stat. Pittsburgh with 15 points per game through the first 2 games. That's tied for 24th in the NFL. And the Browns, 17 points per game allowed in the fourth quarter. That's tied for the worst in the NFL. Can't wait for this AFC North matchup tonight. Very excited for it and very excited for this week 3 of the NFL season.
Sorry, but before we start, you should know our terms and conditions.
I'm kind of in a rush.
You understand that by using the service, you may be exposed to content that is potentially dangerous, offensive, harmful to minors, unsafe, or otherwise objectionable, and you're using the service at your own risk.
What?
Let's go.
Ride-hail companies typically claim they aren't liable for their drivers. So read the fine print. Always ride responsibly.
Just one more rinse and you are all done. I wonder who that could be. I'll be right back, sweetie.
Children can drown quickly and silently. About 2/3 of in-home drownings occur in the bathtub.
Oh no! Call 911!
Turning your back for a moment could mean missing out on a lifetime of moments. It only takes a few seconds for a child to drown. Never leave young children alone in the bathtub or around a container of water. Visit cpsc.gov to learn how to prevent in-home drowning.
In 4 out of 5 school shootings, the attacker tells someone about it first. Call 1-866-SPEAK-UP to anonymously report a weapon threat at school.
Welcome back to UINDY TV News. We've got Leticia Vaselli with us for entertainment. Leticia, what do you have for us?
With a failed trial in 2008 that failed in convicting R. Kelly of multiple crimes ranging from child pornography to inciting a minor, it looks like victims may be getting the justice they deserve. Evidence at the Fort Worth trial in U.S. District Court in Chicago revealed that Kelly enticed multiple girls to engage in sexual activity and recorded some of the abuse on videotape. Kelly met the victims in the late 1990s and engaged in sex acts with them while they were under the age of 18. Kelly, 55, was convicted on 3 counts of producing child pornography and 3 counts of enticing a minor to engage in sexual activity. Each count of producing child pornography carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years in federal prison and a maximum 20 years. The maximum count of enticement of a minor is 10 years. So in all, Kelly faces a sentence of 10 to 90 years in prison. In other news concerning the Disney World, the new Little Mermaid movie starring an African-American woman as Ariel has actually caused quite the controversy. Disney's latest live-action remake, The Little Mermaid, has been engulfed in controversy ever since the casting of the singer Halle Bailey was announced. While Disney's remakes always receive criticism for nostalgic fans, this time the backlash is transparently racist, with all the negativity aimed at the casting of a non-white actress to play the infamous mermaid. The film's trailer has been flooded with 1.5 million dislikes from angry fans. Despite YouTube removing the dislike counter, the numbers are still available through an extension. There's much to criticize about nostalgia culture, but from Disney's perspective, it makes a lot of sense to relive their glory years. Ignoring a few duds, many of their live-action remakes have made a gargantuan amount of money at the box office. Never mind the fact that these films lack the vibrant energy, color, and expressiveness of their animated originals. People will happily take their kids to see them in theaters, hoping to feel a fraction of what that childhood magic felt like. Here at UINDY TV, we asked a scientist who would like to stay unnamed what his opinions were on the new live-action Ariel, and he responded with, "Mermaids are actually real." Fans of the movie Avatar that first made its debut in 2009 are more than excited after waiting for 13 years for a sequel.
You should see your faces.
Moviegoers likely remember similar looks on their faces when Avatar first arrived back in 2009. With $2.8 billion at the global box office, Avatar is the highest-grossing movie of all time, according to Box Office Mojo. James Cameron's sci-fi epic is hitting theaters again, ahead of the release of its sequel later this year.
Avatar was wildly successful in 2009 upon its initial release and effectively disappeared from the pop culture zeitgeist for nearly 13 years.
I see you.
I see you. But it really hasn't left a cultural footprint among, say, the nerderati. Having said that, it's so wildly popular among just normal people who like entertainment and love going to the movies. That audience made that film a hit in 2009. And I predict that that audience will come back at the end of this year in 2022.
Well, I'm certainly really excited to see this movie. Are you guys going to see it?
Definitely on my bucket list to see. And what are you, Colin?
I've seen it before, but it's been forever, so I'm probably going to have to go back and see it in theaters again. But thank you so much for joining us on UINDY TV News. I'm Colin Jung.
I'm Tiana Baxter.
And I'm Leticia Vaselli.
Have a good night.